Well, so we talked last week about creating an investment thesis to avoid the mistakes from mental shortcuts. What I want you to do is actually do more than just make a thesis. I think you could do more with that to create a roadmap for you to improve, right? Whether you are a portfolio manager leading a team of analysts or you're the analyst itself, I think these tips can really put you on the right path to becoming better at your job, right? So you have identified an actual investment thesis. It's a mechanism for this asset to outperform. So now what do you do with that, right? You purchase the stock or the bond or whatever it is, but now what? So what I want you to do is I want you to write down this detailed thesis about why this asset's going to outperform. I want you to write it down, right? And I want you to time and date stamp it. So the idea is you once you time date stamp this thing, you cannot go back and change what you said, right? You really got to lock this in. There's no editing after the fact. All right. There are tools out there to like kind of ensure that this happens, but you just want to make sure what I was thinking then gets kind of locked in stone. And then anytime you're given new information, right? So there's a news article, there's an earnings call, or whatever it is, then you append this information. So you change, you don't append the old stuff you wrote, but you just subsequently add to your information about what it is you're thinking in terms of your investment thesis. Now, when you do this, here's what's going to happen. You're going to be wrong. Like you're not going to get it right. It's going to be extremely rare that what you write down is exactly how the investment plays out. You could be right in terms of it does end up outperforming, but your reasoning is rarely going to be exactly right. So what I also want you to do is say, like, I'm going to be wrong about what happens, whether I'm right or wrong about how the investment performs in terms of outperformance or underperformance. But I also want to write down in my investment thesis, like how it is, what and how am I going to be wrong about what I'm predicting here? And write that down too, okay? And time and date stamp that too. And anytime new information comes out, append and also, that information, okay? You're going to be wrong about this part of it too, but that's okay. That doesn't matter either. But you're going to write this down. You're writing down your thought process, what it is you're attracted to in terms of this stock. What do you think? How you could be wrong, etc. You're going to write it down so you can do it. Okay. Now, the thing here is what you're going to do with this information is you're going to periodically review it once a quarter, once a year, whatever it might be. You're going to figure out, like, in terms of what was going to happen for the stock to outperform. How was I right? In terms of what could happen in terms of how I miss forecasted things. How was I right in that regard too? So you're going to think about how was I right? How was I wrong? In all cases here, like what, trying to figure out your biases, like what am I doing right and wrong here? What you're going to do is like, what can you learn from what you've just analyzed from this periodic review of what your forecasting was? How can I learn to improve my future hit rate of, assets outperforming or assets underperforming? All right. So the key here, right, whether you're right or you're wrong, the key here is consistency. Consistency is the easiest way to make improvements. When you're right, like I'm always right when I think about, this factor, the company is, going to grow its market share. I'm always able to figure that out. Or maybe when it's when you're always wrong, like I'm always wrong when I just think that, they're going to grow faster than the competition in other aspects. I'm always wrong. I'm always overestimating growth, right? So if you're always right, then you can say, well, I can focus energy on companies that have those characteristics where I'm good at figuring that type of thing out. And if you're wrong, you can say, like, I'm going to stop like being overly enthusiastic about these companies, right? These consistencies where you're always kind of always right or you're always wrong. These are the roadmaps for you to improve. So really look for those. Those are going to be the easiest ways for you to kind of highlight and make improvements to your hit rate. The idea here again is try, fail, learn, repeat. If you do this over and over and again, you will get better. You will become a better analyst. If you have your analysts do this as a PM, you will find that they become better analysts, right? You are trying to make improvements here. Thanks so much for listening.